Hello, Rick187 and welcome back to Combat Mission Battle for Normandy in the 130th Panzer Regiment Advance scenario, a community-made scenario. And we're heading into, well, we're into the final hour of a 2.5 hour scenario, and we're getting ready to kind of slam the jaws shut of our, not really a trap, of our pincer movement. And this is really going to, I suppose, make or break this overall push across, because we're kind of stalemated ourselves in the forward push. At the tail end of the last episode, we bring our flanking force, which is 2 Panzer IVs and 2 Panzer Grenadier companies, up the side of the map. We did hit a stumbling block in the way of an American company, and we lost most of the platoon digging it out, and a little bit of damage to one of our tanks as well. You can see yellow icons and radium optics and the tracks. However, a platoon worth of losses for a company is a reasonably good exchange, so I won't grumble about that. So the plan, as we head into this one, is going to be to essentially spring ourselves on these 3 Sherman 4s. There is a couple of preceding steps. First, we're going to have to take care of this M10. We have killed 2 of the crew with a near miss from a previous tank shell, but we need to take him out. Now, he has parked himself in a divot on a hill, so cannot see very much at all, so he's not much of a threat. But we're just going to have to time our advances to how and when we come over the rise to engage him. So the plan, if I keep making you dizzy with the camera, is as follows. We have one of the platoons in the half track. He's going to essentially screen for our armour forces. So he's going to head out to this right, just make sure there's no more infantry lurking around here. Then we're going to bring our 2 Panzer IVs over this way, up the ridge, and engage the M10, hopefully in the flank, although it may well turn to face us given it can hear us coming, because we're noisy beasts. I would like, if timing permits, to bring this armoured car in support as well, because I think the 20mm Callum would do fantastic work against the M10, and if nothing else, might be a good way to suppress it while our panzers find their aim. Once the M10 is deleted, we're going to take the final platoon from this first company, and his job is going to be entering this field, discharging his troops along this hedgerow, and scouting out any enemy in this area. Just make sure that is clear, and if it's not clear, obviously eradicating any forces within. I would also like to, depending on where my armoured car is, if you're supporting this or not, bring it back along here and park it facing down the road, just to put a little bit of fire control down that avenue. Then, all going well, the next stage will be to bring in our 2 HQ units, which have 2 Panzer Dieka teams in each half track, and one of the platoons from a new company, into this field, which we have, well, proven more or less clear. Obviously, could be some guys hiding behind in here. And they are going to discharge 4 Panzer Jäger teams up along this hedgerow, and we'll probably have a platoon of infantry as well, just to support. Obviously, intent to spring a trap on these lovely Sherman 4s. In support of that, when we're about to pop out, the plan will be to bring our own Panzer 4s up this roadway, probably one breaking out onto the hill, and one coming up and through over here to get in behind their position. So between the Panzer Schreks and the Panzer IVs, hopefully we can take out those 3 vehicles without reply. That's the grand plan. We are going to obviously be relying on not tripping over any more infantry companies as we come back this direction. That may slow things down, and although we've still got a reasonable amount of time, it is getting on a little bit. We will have 1 HQ unit and 2 platoons in reserve. We haven't used those yet, so we may well obviously bring them in if we find a stiffer resistance than planned, or we may hold them to push on to the next section and engage the next enemy. While we're doing this, I've also started planning orders for moving our trucks around, so this is our final infantry reserves. The grand plan is going to be, once we have cleared out these armoured resistance, is to then truck them up along this road, so we can deploy them ideally here, but we'll have to see how this area is covered by enemy infantry, and that's what we're kind of scouting for. So we can push in behind at the back of this American position. And my idea is we kind of fold up this whole position. That's the plan. We'll see if we get away with it or not. It also depends on how fortunate we are marauding around with our Panzer IVs, landing the hits and not being unlucky in exchanges. So what I will probably do is, because there's just some remnants of this company left, not going to cause us too much problems. So I'll probably cut away for a few minutes and bring you back to when we're about to spring step 1, which will be to engage this M10 destroyer and open and clear him out the way for phase 2. Okay, had to tweak plans slightly as I've run into a pretty serious roadblock of yet another American infantry company. So was kind of anticipating them potentially being in this area. I mean, obviously a bit more forward. The bit I struggled with, been interesting with, is that the taking quite a lot of casualties when moving my half tracks around. Trying to do bits and pieces, like essentially, well, here's a good example. The plan was to move these, just get the half tracks forward, get the guys out, get them into kind of cover along these hedgerows. But frequently finding that obviously they would come under fire, fair enough. They would take a casualty, well, also fair enough. You know, these things aren't super armored. But then that they would almost immediately go panic, break, and then just kind of sit around. This guy was a perfect example where he was sitting up here, caught an injury, would panic, reverse a little bit, and then just sat there in a field of fire, not moving, no one getting out. They would then stay around for a little bit. They would then recover in the middle of the next minute, be shot at again, break again, and then just do this little like staggered step back over the course of several minutes, just taking the odd casualty down again. It was infuriating. It's probably my own rustiness with half tracks and not using them properly, and maybe trying to rely on them a little bit too heavily to get in position. However, we've now got our armoured car up, we've now got our tank up. These are remnants of the first company, and these are the lead elements of the second, and we're starting to put some significant pressure on, which should allow us to then get infantry to mop up. So the kind of M10 is on a bit of the back burner at the minute, although we do have one Panzer IV who's kind of managed to get off around the side, marauding a little bit. But after taking a handful of infantry casualties, which I wasn't really expecting, but hopeful that if we knock these guys out, then that's going to unlock this position. But we shall see. Well, I know since you're here, may as well stick around for one of our minutes, and you can see my ineptitude with half tracks live. But at least I'm pretty hopeful the armoured car can help turn the tide a little bit. Well, it's slightly worrying though. A lot of remnant GIs rather close to the old Panzer there. Good to take care of him. And we're starting to see some red crosses, and they said, ah, perfect. Should have brought you guys back sooner. Apparently you're the lucky charm that I needed. Although, again, I'm being too adventurous with this Panzer, leading the way like this. That's more of a frustration at my inability to get my infantry into good position. You know, I've left my bum to essentially a US soldier. He had an AT grenade. Could potentially cause a bit of harm. See, this is kind of the maneuver I envisage. You rush up, get your troops out. Happy days. Okay. Good, and we should hopefully be in a position. We have lost sight of the M10, unfortunately. We should be in a position to perhaps come round behind it. In fact, I'm going to come round up into there. Seems like a pretty fun place to turn up. So let us... yeah, I think we'll be better off reversing. I'm going to come up this way. And again, he was supposed to have an infantry screen. Come up to here. But alas, they are busy elsewhere. Also found that one of my half-tracks got mobilised, so I'm a half-track down. But given all the infantry casualties I've taken, it probably doesn't matter. Right, enough moaning, Requiem, come on. Right, let's advance with this armoured car. I'll probably do this for one more minute, and then feel comfortable enough to actually bring forward a half-track again and get some infantry dismounted. Yeah, well, since you're here, we'll stick around one more, and then we'll call it a cut until, well, maybe until we see the half-track. Struggling for our vision. I mean, he's right down the road there, mate. You've got 13 HE shells left, gonna make them count. I'm also okay with him biding his time and just let my armoured car deal with this a little bit more. No, another dead GI, good. And these guys are finally in position, excellent. Okay, we're feeling in a much better position now. We've got multiple machine guns involved, got some heavy forces in there. We should be able to suppress these guys. Have a rare old time. Excellent. Meanwhile, you're just slowly moving position. Alright, so what I'll do, I will cut away. If we happen to give M10 engagement, I'll bring you back if it's next minute or the minute after. We will continue to clear out these Americans. If things go particularly well, particularly badly, I'll show that as well. Otherwise, we should come back for M10 engagement and then springing the trap. Alright, so I think we're about a minute and a half further along. We have got our... let's jump back for a second. We have got our armoured car in a nice position, and I'm saving his heavy ammunition because I don't have that much of it. I'm just spraying down this hedgerow with machine gun fire because the Americans have all gone to ground, which is nice to see. Which should allow me a bit more freedom of movement. We're mopping up a little bit here. These guys are just some waifs and strays, and we have finally spotted the M10. So he's been sitting here for a minute, and this is his second minute in this position. And looks like he's finally made the spot. Surprising it took him so long, to be perfectly honest, but we had lost the wider C2 who had spotted earlier, and actually he's kind of staring at me as well, so which is disconcerting. Oh, he actually got the first shot off. Look at that. That is just a terrible, terrible attempt at hold down position, silhouetted against the sky. Requin must do better. Okay, so that one, yeah, that one's gone in our favour. Must remember that when I'm grumbling about AI performance. Okay, but that's the first kind of key unlocked there. He's in a good position to kind of come and hit these guys from reverse, and eventually I'm going to swing this Panzer down up this valley and up that road as discussed. Once we dealt with these pesky guys. This also allows us to... Are you having trouble with the fence? Why have you run away? Sorry, I've been distracted. Oh, you don't have a gunner. I need to get you an extra man. Okay. Well, the rest of you mop up those guys. Okay, that's fine. So I was going to say is this allows us to bring one of the Panzer Grenadiers probably kind of in, make sure we're not getting set into these tanks. Yeah, into the kind of this position and getting kind of, again, in behind the Americans, help with the spotting, hopefully eradicate them. And that's what your job's going to be. Cool. So, again, I'm pretty happy with how that ended up. Pretty lucky, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure I have any rights have come ahead there. But this will allow us all to kind of unlock phase 2. So I'll maybe, I'll bring you back. It depends, either if once I get some infantry here, if it's particularly interesting, or if it's just kind of more mopping up work, I'll hold off until we're actually in position to spring the Sherman trap. Okay, gonna jump back very quickly. Not because we're ready to spring a trap, because I've done a better job of employing these half-tracks for support. I thought maybe I'd come back and show a slightly more sensible use. So we have these two half-track here, which have deposited some troops. They're also supporting with their machine guns. So these guys are a couple of MG42s. They had one, but they've gone a little bit shy. Meanwhile, supporting down the main road with our armoured car. As well as additional support from this half-track back here. So a large volume of machine gun fire, generally suppressing the enemy, which allows me to get close and drop these guys off, which is then obviously allowed me to positively identify a lot of them and finish them off. And it is what you might call a pretty target-rich environment. And it's not all one-way fire, we're not completely suppressed. As you can see, we did take a casualty there. But they are severely on the back foot here, and we're kind of just starting to mop up. Which is, yeah, this is how I envisaged it going first time. But it took a little bit of wiggling to get it to work. So one thing we have also spotted is, actually I didn't spot that before. So we've got a heavy machine gun and the HQ team in this church. I'm amazed he can see through that hedgerow, but fair enough. Which is also going to cause problems because we want to drive past the front of it. So we might have to dispatch some guys and gals to come in and try and suppress that position. I may be take some casualties here from that M1917 if it's got line of sight. Although we are firing back, but surprised we can see each other through these trees. In fact, your job is probably going to be sit here and to have endless machine gun fire into that building. Okay, good. So, yeah, I just want to show you that. We'll cut away now. I think it's going to be fairly rudimentary to mop up the rest of these guys. Slightly harder, maybe, to chew through that. But I think what we're going to do is we'll have... These guys are going to just continually spray. And then I had already earmarked you, I think, to come up through here, over this way, gap in the hedge, and then get in along this hedgerow and hopefully take out everyone else in the building, thereby allowing our Panzer teams to get in position. And here's hoping there isn't a third company of infantry sitting along there, because that would be terrifying. Meanwhile, our Panzers are kind of just sitting, waiting for the nod. I might get to the point where, if we don't clear this out in the next couple of minutes, where they have to kind of go it alone. Let's see if there's been any movement here. Not really. Because I am starting to get a little conscious of time. But we've got a fair bit still left to do. Cool. Just as we pushed on a little bit further, I did confirm there is indeed another American platoon further down the road. And it also occurred to me that I've been saying company when I meant platoon for at least this episode, and quite dangerously possibly the one before. Yeah, so... we have encountered 3 platoons, which is one entire company of American infantry here. No real concerns clearing down the road. They're all pretty suppressed. We might take the odd casualty, but as long as I'm sensible, it should be fine. I just wanted to bring you guys back and correct my mistake. And yeah, and we'll come back when we're doing some Sherman hunting. Alright, so this was the minute, several later than I planned originally. I expect to bring you guys back to kick off our ambush. But I had a classic twist of fate CM moment. And so you aware there was a Vickers machine gun in this second story, which we've been kind of trying to suppress with machine gun fire. And we just lost sight of it. I thought they'd just gone to the ground as I was moving some forces to the local cache. Turns out we'd managed to do such a good job of suppressing, we'd routed them from their current position. And as fate would have it, they ran away and set themselves up over here. So when we came in to dismount everyone, he shot up all my anti-tank crews. Thankfully, apart from being thoroughly scared, we've only lost one actual anti-tank weapon. And we now have our second infantry squad, who are coming to suppress / clear out this, can get into position and take care of them. But that was, yeah, incredibly frustrating. Just, yeah, bad luck that they happened to route in the wrong direction, or the right direction as far as they're concerned. Okay, that's officially knocked out now. Good. We are starting to also push some infantry across these fields, just because I'm conscious of time, so I want to try and advance those. Its initial scouts. We'll follow up with the main trucked-in infantry, which I've just got to get out of their trucks. And the other thing is I've done another mortar barrage just in the centre here, just to dump whatever's left. One interesting note is the Americans, for some reason, have occasionally decided to come and try and attack me. I've got a headquarters unit and an infantry squad have come over the bridge. Needless to say, it's not going particularly well for them. And, yeah, more of that, please, America. In fact, maybe you are doing a little bit more of that. But yeah, I'm also conscious of my time. I had grand plans of knocking out the centre and then going around for them Thames and whatnot. And I don't think that's going to be the case. So, in terms of our objectives, I'm going to have to focus on clearing out Stitch 2. Because I don't think we're going to get all the way down to Sterile on in time. We'll try. And we have the advantage of it's not a campaign, so we don't have to worry about casualties so much, but we're not quite sure where that's going to end up. So, these guys are going to be in a horrific condition, I'm sure. But let's see if we can't, after so many hours of preparation, actually launch this trap. Let's spread you out a little bit, I think. And let's maybe move you further down. We'll get you to come in to see here. Where are my tanks? There, there, and there. And in fact, let's get you to come all the way down to here. You to come in to see there. And we'll get you, my friend, to come in to see there. So we're one Panzer strike less than initially planned. Go pick it up, please. But it will have to do. And at the same time, we're going to launch our Panzer IV attack, essentially. So you should open up, and we are going to go hunting over the crest of this hill. Should give you a nice view into his rear. I'm tempted to give you a little bit of a pause. Get a chunky pause. Let's go 30 seconds. Because I absolutely want my Panzer Strikes to engage first and essentially distract them. And then the Panzer IVs are going to come in and mop up. And you should just come into here. You should get side on view of that Sherman. And all going well, which it invariably won't. We'll clear those out, which will open up the avenue attack we want across this field and into that main objective. Yeah, well, let's... I'll just go check the rest of my infantry orders and then we'll see how that goes live. Okay, let's see if after all this planning and preparation, it works. I'm a little worried about the morale of my Panzerjäger teams. Also, our armoured cars are doing an absolute sterling job. I can't wait to see his casualty numbers, although he is starting to run a little bit low on ammunition. These guys are obviously just taking shells and machine gun fire. This was our kind of preliminary scouts. I did want to see what the kind of opposition was like. Right. Oh, bazooka team out there. Thankfully missed. How are you feeling about life? How's your eyes? Oh, apparently not great. I mean, it's a big tank. Hard to miss. Don't tell me you guys are up again. Oh! Okay. Right, you're gonna have to stick around for 1 minute, I'm afraid. Right, winner of first shot goes to Schreiner. I need to see where the machine guns come from as well, but at least that he finally sees one. Shoots high. He does have another round though, so we'll see how that goes. That machine gun fire, where's that come from? That might be our own machine gun fire. Okay, and how are my tanks doing? They should be in position. I'll probably scoot you forward a little bit more. Yeah, you need to move forward a little more. Okay. Best laid plans of mice and men. Put yourself forward. Although, given the way these guys spot, hunting's probably not that required. And hopefully, you guys will finally get vision, right? Okay. Yeah, they've obviously noticed the Panzer Strike team and are responding-ish. Okay, time to face. Spots. Big old tank. Our Panzer IVs have spotted. I hate to look behind me. Come on, guys. Another swing, another miss. And you guys claim to not see anything. Well, this has this has not been the knockout blow to American positions that I was rather hoping it would be. Yeah. Yeah, you missed. You absolutely fluffed it. And just got absolutely, and you got nailed in return. Even when sneaking up behind them, apparently. Actually, I think your vision might be blocked by a hedge. Indeed it is. Alright, he needs to pull you out of there. About to pick a fight with the wrong Sherman. Can't believe how poorly some of this done. Okay, I get this position. Actually, that's my bad. This is a bad position. All he can see is that hill. Right, is that the same with you? Am I being the artifice of my own device here? Potentially. Okay. I need to go away and work out how I'm going to deal with this. Because I'm now down a number of heat shells, a Panzer IV, and I haven't scratched the paintwork on these boys yet. We rather needed them to defend ourselves. I suppose the other option we have, I don't know if I get any, no smoke left. I think the other option was just try and block them with smoke as we push across and give up on this position. But I don't know, we shall see, we shall see. Alright, we're going to call it there, some replying required. I'm devastated that's not come off better. It seems to be a common theme of this scenario. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed it. As I leave your thoughts, comments, etc. down below, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Whatever that may be.